Drake and Morgan started back in 2008 by Gillian, the current chief exec and founder of the business, back with one site called Bankside in South London, and grew to over 20 sites with Paperchase joining the whole journey.
David, it's super great to have you here. Drake and Morgan and Paperchase. The association spans over almost 15 years. Now, I do want to get to that part, but for those who are viewing, can you please take us to the journey of, the Drake and Morgan story? And
Sure.
while you do that, I would not mind you liberally sprinkling over Paperchase's association in that story.
Yeah, absolutely. Drake and Morgan started back in 2008 by Gillian, the current chief exec and founder of the business, back with one site called Bankside in South London, and grew to over 20 sites with Paperchase joining the whole journey. So I think it's fair to say Paperchase know the business better than most people who actually currently work at Drake and Morgan. We grew, as I said, through individual rollouts over the years. And then in 2016, Drake and Morgan bought a business in London called Cornerstone and added a number of sites to the business. And again, Paperchase helped the whole transition of taking their financial information from Cornerstone over to Drake and Morgan. And it was a very smooth and straightforward process. Before my time, I must add, so I am only telling you what I was told. But I believe it was a very, very straightforward and simple process. And the Drake and Morgan team and the Paperchase team have worked very closely together for that whole period. More recently, I guess I joined 4 years ago, when the UK was going through COVID, very tough times for the business. And again, I would not have been able to do what I did with the business without the support of the Paperchase team. Not only did they help with the financials and pairing all of the data that we needed to understand what was really happening at the business at that time, but also their knowledge of the history of the business was, it was something that I couldn't have coped without, because there were so many things that referenced back to pre-COVID times that we needed to truly understand in order to understand what was happening with the business at that really difficult time. And without Paperchase being able to take me through that journey and have that corporate knowledge, it just would not have been possible. So I am personally very grateful for Paperchase having made my journey with Drake and Morgan, certainly in the early years, so much more straightforward than it may have otherwise been.
So fantastic. It's so great to hear. And while you were talking, I got emotional about it because I could also relate to it. I also joined Paperchase in my journey with Paperchase is about last 3 years.
Yeah.
Feels like forever though.
Yeah.
And most people that work on Drake and Morgan with us at Paperchase are obviously much, much older on the project than me. So I'm also told stories of their association and their learning, the way they have grown along with Drake and Morgan's growth. And 2016 is when you're referring the acquisitions.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was a big milestone for Paperchase as well, because that's probably, I believe, for the very first time, Paperchase was requested to deliver the monthly accounts within 7 working days.
Correct.
7 days,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And I'm really proud when I heard the story that team did rise up to the challenge and keep up with the expectations of not the growing business, but also the time that tested the resilience of all of us, like pandemic, right?
It was tough times for the business. It was tough times for, on a personal level for lots of people, both in the UK, in India and wider world. But talking from a purely business perspective, we faced many challenges. We're predominantly based in central London. Obviously the mandated working from home at that time meant that there was no business. The trading ceased. And the business faced real challenges. And at a time when it was uncertain at what level of support would come from the government, and how we would continue to trade. And throughout that time, the communication and the relationship that had been built with Paperchase over the years really came to fruition. And I think, we've discussed this, how it was really important to see Paperchase as an extended part of my finance team.
Sure.
It's not a third party providing data and information
Yeah,
to us. It's
absolutely.
they are very much part of my team, as if they were sat in front of me in London.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really crucial part in the mind shift of the relationship between Paperchase and Drake Morgan. So that challenging time, as you said, joining in COVID, as you also did, it was a very, very unusual time. And it was a real time when everybody needed to work together. And I think the Drake Morgan and the Paperchase team showed how strong that relationship was that had been built up and continues to thrive.
That's a way to hear about those moments, that particularly where you felt that Paperchase was really contributed into the journey of Drake and Morgan
Absolutely. Absolutely.
alongside. And when you're talking about those difficult times, after passing those difficult times, I still remember when I first met you in one of your most stylish space, the Enthologist, where we met.
Yeah, that was in Happenstance,
Yeah.
in Paternoster Square, in
Yes.
just near St. Paul's. So
Yes.
yeah,
So I
absolutely.
was blown by the attention to detail that every corner had, and it clearly spoke the pure passion with which the team must have worked to basically provide all the fine dining experiences or unique experiences to the people that come to it, right? And
Absolutely.
speaking of which, I mean, the entire time after passing the entire pandemic time to come out of it and still be able to provide the world-class experiences
Yep.
dining to the client
Yep.
can only happen with the passionate Jillian
Absolutely.
and the team that she
Absolutely.
has built, amazing team she has built around her.
Absolutely correct. I mean, the attention to detail from Gillian's point of view is second to none. I can say that, having worked in a number of hospitality businesses and leisure businesses. So it does all drive from Gillian's passion and her vision way back when, and where she started back in 2008, and that continues today. And I think it transcends the whole business. It's not just about what's going on in those sites, which, as you said, the attention to detail from an operational point of view is critical, but that sort of replicates itself in our HR team, in our marketing team, and in our finance team. I think one thing that we've discussed this since I've been here about, there are lots of things that are required from a finance team, but first and foremost is accurate and timely information.
Correct.
And everything else can be great, but if it's not accurate and it's not on time, then you've really sort of taken your eye off the ball. And I think the Drake and Morgan sites are hopefully reflect sort of the front facing, the customer facing element to what is happening behind the scenes as well.
So that's so important to basically take the timely decisions.
Correct.
Accuracy and efficiency both, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And during that conversation only, I remember that I invited you to basically come visit us, meet the team back in India, right?
Yeah.
And when you agreed, let me be absolutely honest.
You didn't believe me.
I didn't.
I know you didn't believe me. I'm not sure I believe myself.
Yeah, I mean, and not just I did not believe. I mean, I kind of saw the honesty, but I did not believe it to happen this quickly. I mean, we talked 3 months before, and here we are having this conversation just like in about 3 months. So I'm really curious to know that after having been visiting the team in Ahmedabad, what is your impression so far?
Yeah. Okay. So reflecting on our conversation back in London, I think two things really. One, I'd like to think that a bit like everything else that Drake and Morgan does, and the team that Drake and Morgan has built, is that when people say they'll do something, they do it. They don't waste time thinking about all the reasons why things can't happen. They work out why and how they can make it happen. And I think I took it on board that I'd said it, and actually it was only committing to you what I had already committed to myself. I reflected on the fact that when I joined, we were in lockdown. The business went on through that COVID time, was tough. We came out of it, and obviously, like most hospitality businesses in the UK, focus was on rebuilding the business, on coming out with the customers coming back to London, coming back from their working from home environments. And that's really where the focus has had to be, to make sure we've reestablished a very sound and solid financial business, which is what we have done. And really, once that was taken care of, uh, those building blocks back in place, it was really about, okay, looking forward, looking to the future. And I reflect on the fact that 4 years down the line, it's very much my earlier comment about Paperchase being very much my finance team. Um, in no other way would I ever have had a finance team that I'd never met. I've never, which seemed crazy.
That was my
So,
submission.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think when we were having the conversation, I was fully committed to coming out here and seeing everybody face to face. Again, as a hospitality business, working from home and people doing Zoom calls and Teams calls, it's not particularly helpful to us.
Sure.
We want people seeing each other face to face. So it, being, having sort of pushing that in our customers, it was really important that we did the same internally. And so I was very keen to come out and see the whole team. So as you said, I think it did all happen quite quickly.
Yeah.
And thank you very much for being so accommodating and welcoming to us. What was my impression when I turned up? I knew that I knew the sort of setup of the Drake and Morgan team. So I knew there were the rough numbers that were in our team and the members of our team. I don't think I quite appreciated how big Paperchase was. So my initial impression was, wow, there's a lot more people here than I expected there to be. And also the professionalism. You can tell when you walk in somewhere within a bit like you walk into a Drake and Morgan, and you tell very quickly the standards matter a lot to people, and the team and the greetings. It's really reflective in Paperchase as well. The similarities are significant. We when we came in, the amount of welcome, the hellos, from people who had nothing to do with the Drake and Morgan team. So yeah, I think the size of it, the professionalism, and also I think I may have said it felt a little bit like being back at college or university.
Yeah.
There's a real sort of social element to here, but in a professional working way. So it feels very relaxed, but also you can see everybody's very focused on what they're doing and focused on getting their work done, but in what feels like a very relaxed environment, which is fantastic. And it was very important for me to see it firsthand, rather than just be told what people were telling me what it was like. And yeah, it's a pleasure to be here, a pleasure to see it.
Yeah.
And in this day and age, jumping on a flight to India is not a challenge. It's very straightforward. So there really are no excuses. And therefore, I think being here, as I said, if there were a team that was sat in my office and decided not to walk into the office for 4 years, it just would never happen. So it's only a slight extension from there to sort of make sure that you come and see everybody face to face. And as I said, personally, I have a fair bit of interaction with a couple of the senior members of the team, and a little bit of interaction with a couple of others of the members of the team. And my other team back in the UK speak to most people across the group, but to see everybody and to be able to see all the team members who contribute so importantly to everything that happens in terms of getting the financials across to Drake and Morgan accurately on time. But as I said before, it's really important to be able to say thank you to everybody and not just the people that I speak to regularly. So I think it's been a really good experience, both sides. And as I said, very welcoming, and I appreciate it. I think if I put myself in their position, to be so passionate about a business, which I know the team are about Drake and Morgan, to then not have any one-on-one, face-to-face contact with some of the individuals back in London, it's not how Drake and Morgan are. It's important to us that we are seen as one team, and Paperchase are part of that team.
That definitely means a lot. As I said, not just to the Breaking Open Paperchase team, but beyond that. I mean, the entire Paperchase team who have had the pleasure to host you and Sab
Yeah,
for the last 3 days and gain from their knowledge, from your knowledge, and as well to show you what we are doing, how we are cross learning, how we are able to basically help each other
yeah, absolutely.
whenever we need,
Yeah,
and to share those knowledge.
and meeting the team, the wider team managers from other clients that I had the pleasure of doing yesterday. Actually, a couple of senior teams from the Drake and Morgan guys came up to me afterwards and said, everything you said is everything that our senior team say. So the senior team at Paperchase are talking to their management team, who have the direct contact with the clients and saying, look, you need to be thinking about this, you need to be focusing on that. And what I was told was that all they heard from me was my perspective, and in nearly every case, just repeating what they're told from the senior team at Paperchase. So I think it helped for them to hear firsthand from a client what I'm looking for and what we're looking for. And as I said, it just as a sort of a repeat of what they're told from the team here. So it shows you how aligned the two companies are.
Sure. No, I'm so happy to hear that. We definitely have this vision that we keep on sharing, which is client obsession. And by client obsession, what we mean is whatever we are doing here and what you just described, everything that is how you're using the reports that we are submitting or the data that we are accurately presenting and how it is meaningful you to analyze it and take the decisions in a timely manner. That's what the discussions are always around. And that's when it comes from you, they also validate it.
Yes.
That whatever we are doing on a month-on-month basis is extremely helpful
Yep.
for our extended team who is using it, who is analyzing and taking benefit of it and taking the decisions based on it.
And it's really important to Paperchase to give that feedback back to clients to say, okay, this is what we can do. This is how we can help. This is how we can help you achieve what you're trying to set out to achieve. And that communication is alongside the accuracy and the timeliness. Those two things go hand in hand in the sort of the building block of whatever help happens after that.
Okay. And how do you see now, after meeting the team personally, spending time with each other, this from your perspective, how do you see this partnership changing the way we have been, operating? And now after meeting the extended team, how do you see that changing going forward?
I think to be honest, the relationship is already very strong between the two companies. So I think I don't see significant changes, but it's the small changes that will make the difference. So that level of communication and that understanding of a partnership. So again, trying to break down that feeling of client requesting and Paperchase providing, but more of a discussion and understanding other things that Paperchase can provide. It not just being about a set of monthly management accounts or an analysis on labor, whatever cost base we're looking at that time, but also the wider base of Paperchase and other things that we can discuss with them. But in terms of the team itself, it's just building on that communication, that discussion, and really just going from there. So it's, as I said, we're probably quite fortunate that we, over 15 years, already managed to establish a pretty good working
No, but
relationship.
it's just like this that definitely strengthen the relationship.
Absolutely.
Yes, I mean, it gives you a perspective of, as you rightly said, over the monthly account on the top of that analysis that we are doing, what other things that we are doing
Absolutely correct. Yeah.
and are capable to help you get out of us through the data and the experience that team already has for years and years of working on that.
Correct. I mean, Paperchase has got, it's got so much knowledge from all of its different clients, that I think it's probably fair to say that we don't always necessarily rely on that or tap into that as much as we could do. We sort of try and come up with the answer ourselves when the answer is probably already out there, sat in some other part of Paperchase on another client. So I think there's an element of maybe us being a little bit more proactive in requesting and challenging Paperchase to go, okay, what else do you guys do for others, and what could we benefit from other elements, what you're providing for other clients? But as I said, we are lucky. We're lucky that we have a pretty good relationship that's been established over a number of years already.
The feeling is mutual and it means a lot to us. So thank you so much.
Absolute pleasure.
Dilip. Thank you very much.
Thank you again for having us. It's been a pleasure.
It's incredible to have you all, and we thoroughly enjoy ourselves in your company. And we really
long may it continue. I look forward to coming back.
Exactly, precisely what I was saying.
Well, I said it last time when I was here, so
yes,
great.
great. Thank you so much.